Hey guys, it's your best five friends. I'm Kelsey. This is Rachel.
And today you're going to teach me about the PFL.
The Professional Fighters League. This,
Yes.
to me, is the most interesting of the non-UFC MMA promoters, right? First of all, the format of the PFL is interesting, right? So instead of the promotion-based format, which everybody in combat sports uses, I talked to Peter Murray, the CEO of PFL. He said that format's broken. So what they're doing, he actually used to work in the NFL, and so what they're doing is they're taking the concepts that every sports fan knows, that the NFL uses, that the NBA uses, and applying them to combat sports, right?
Yeah.
They're seasons.
So that's interesting to me that there would be a season.
They've already gone through 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Seasons take 8 months, but the fighters, if you win, you keep advancing. You got the regular season right, and then you have the playoffs, and then if you win, you keep advancing. And then their championship this last year was on New Year's Eve, right? They have the championship brackets on New Year's Eve. You win your championship in your weight class, you get $1 million. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a cool concept. I remember thinking about, now, if you go back to December, I was writing about MMA for Bleacher Report, but I hadn't yet started for Heavy, right? But I remember the PFL being on New Year's Eve. I remember thinking about it all New Year's Eve night. Like, I wonder what's going on with that. Like, to me, that's really, really smart, putting something on New Year's Eve. And he said that a lot of sports do that, right? He talked about how the NFL has Thanksgiving and how the NBA has Christmas Day and how the New Year's Day is for bowl games, right? College football. And this model in MMA is used, I know, in like some of the Asian-based promotions have cards on New Year's Eve. That's when Floyd Mayweather fought Tenshin Nasukawa on New Year's Eve. So to bring that to America, I think is smart, can work, did at least work on me. And I'm super intrigued by the format.
So tell me this, like, how does this work with individual fighters being in a season? Because, so yeah, like, guys can play basketball games, like, multiple days in a row. That can't happen in a fight. You can't fight Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You know what I mean?
Well, it's just like you can't play football every day either. They have to space them out.
Yeah, so football's different. So they play a football game once a week. How does it work for the PFL? Like, how long is their season?
Their season takes 8 months from start to finish, but
okay,
I mean
so
they're not fighting every week, right? It's not like football, and it's not even like, but it's more like combat sports is spaced out. But the idea is that it's treated like a season. So what happens in the UFC, you see it in the UFC often, right? A fighter doesn't win a fight, but since Dana White thinks that he deserved to win the fight, or which is really Dana White knows that guy's a bigger star than the other guy, he still gets to fight for the title, right? We saw that with Jose Aldo getting to fight for the title, even though he was coming off 2 losses, I think. This happens a lot in the UFC, and it's because the format is promotion-based. You want the bigger name fighter so you can promote the event. This is not that. San Antonio Spurs fans, NBA, we all think, like, oh, you know that they don't want the Spurs in the NBA title game, right? They'd rather have the Lakers or the Knicks or somebody. But in the playoff format, there's not much you can do to keep it from happening. If the Spurs are the best team, they're going to win.
Yeah.
In the PFL, if you're the best fighter in your weight class and you keep winning, nobody can keep you from winning. And to me, the bigger thing, beyond how it's good for general sports fans, because you know how hard it is to explain combat sports to general sports fans already. This takes most of that away. Well, also for the fighters, to be able to win $1 million in 1 year for 99% of the fighters in MMA, that's a huge thing. That's a huge amount of money. And man, I'm excited about it.
Intriguing. The thing that I wonder about is, does it skew things more towards, like, not like you have a loss and that's it, you're done. And you might be like a super talented fighter and it was just like a bad night. It wasn't your night. So for example, in the NBA, if the Spurs like have a bad night, then it's okay, like early on in the season, right? Like they can make that up. Or baseball, like, not this year, but most seasons, really long seasons, and so like you're not looking for perfection.
I think that there's regular season is long enough to where you can lose during the regular season. Now the playoffs, it's more like the NFL. You lose in the NFL playoffs, you're going home. You have to win your playoff game.
Okay, that makes sense to me. But you're saying there's an actual regular season.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you kind of like whoever's the best fighter at the end of that regular season. So my only concern is there enough time for fighters to be able to fight, especially depending on how many fighters are in a weight class?
Well, I want to get more into how you know about combat sports.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do you think about this different take on how they want to, he said, basically, why don't we try something different? Why don't we try to make this better? Which I like to hear, because you never hear that. We basically always have the same people doing the same kind of things over and over again. And here's a case where it's not just this one guy. This is like a whole group. They've got hundreds of millions of dollars in investors of like famous people that you would know. Kevin Hart's one of them, like people you would know. They've got all this money, all this technology that they're using. They've done all this stuff. They're in it for the long haul. They didn't force the season this year. They canceled, and they're just going to wait because they didn't want to dilute their season. They didn't want to shorten their season. Yeah. They didn't want to they want their product to keep getting better and better. They have a long-term vision to compete with the very top of this, and I think that it's really super interesting.
I think in MMA, there's room to try new things. When I look at boxing, it's like it's been around for so long that I do think that people come in and just do the same thing over and over again.
And they kind of do that in MMA too.
Like, I'm going to be a promoter and this is what I'm going to do now, right? So like when Oscar became a promoter, like Golden Boy Promotions,
same thing.
He was doing the same thing that Top Rank's doing. And like, I mean, Floyd Mayweather's got a promoter, right? Like in some way.
Promotions?
Yeah. And so he does the same thing that everybody else does.
Similar.
So I do think in MMA, because it's newer.
Frankly, the MMA does not have to deal with the Muhammad Ali Act, which I think dictates a lot of the things that happen in boxing.
Okay.
So, but you're right. They have the opportunity to do things a different way. And here's a company that is actually doing it. And I think I'm excited about it.
For the masses, I think that it's much easier to present this to a broader, wider audience. And I do think grabbing a special day like New Year's Eve, which is like only junks on, so you might say like people are out like whatever, but they also might not be. Or if they are out at a bar or something, then you have this on instead of like, I'm interested to see where this might go.
Yeah, I'm excited to I know they're going to come back in the spring of 2021.
We got a while to wait.
They've got a lot. He said that they have more interest from bigger name stars after 2 seasons than they had before from other promotional things. Obviously, when you're handing out $1 million checks, guys are like, hey, I'm going to go over there and fight for $1 million. So that's should be interesting to see where this goes. You can see where we go here at Real Talk with Kelsey and Rachel.
But to see that, you got to subscribe.
You have to like, comment, and subscribe. Unfortunately, we can't just accept one of those anymore unless it's subscribed. Then we'll just accept that.